In the heart of Okina City, at Kaizen University, a shout rings out. You again, Tojo Daiki? Inside the classroom, everyone looks anxiously at him slumped over his desk, whispering, "Wake up! The professor is calling you." He suddenly jolts awake, eyes wide, amidst the murmurs of the crowd. Unbelievable. Sleeping like a baby right in the middle of class. He's completely hopeless. He just clutches his head, frowning in thought. What is this? I'm not dead. Meanwhile, the professor on the podium says sarcastically, "Quiet down, everyone. To think I'd have a student like you. I truly pity the Tojo family. At this rate, I'm worried your father will have a stroke and pass out. Your older brother Tendo has an incredibly bright future. I heard he'll be holding a high position in Indo. It's hard to believe you two are brothers. Because of you, the Tojo family hasn't just become a laughingstock, but is also being torn apart." But he pays no mind to the man's words, clutching his head and thinking, so, I've reincarnated into the body of this kid named Tojo Daiki. Before reincarnating, my name was Yi Tianchi. I mastered both alchemy and artifact forging, standing at the absolute pinnacle of the cultivation world. After more than 5,000 years of cultivation, I became the #1 under the heavens. I survived 3 heavenly lightning tribulations and was only 1 step away from ascending through the immortal gate. And yet, I was betrayed and murdered by my own comrades. The one who betrayed me was Schwanger, someone I treated like family. She was actually the daughter of the Soul Emperor I had destroyed, biding her time all along just for a chance at revenge. At that moment, she stabbed him right through the body. Back then, he laughed mockingly and said, "For someone who craved family love as much as I did, to be brought down by my own family. How ironic. But did you really think I'd accept death so easily? I'll drag that traitor down to hell with me." As he spoke, a blinding light erupted from the stab wound she inflicted. Eyes wide as the light exploded, he thought. In the end, I self-destructed, dragging both Schwanger and the Lord of the demonic path to the grave with me. That's right. I possessed a maddening thirst for life, so I will gladly accept and use this body. I will settle every humiliation this kid had to endure, along with all the grudges from my past life, once and for all. However, it seems he wasn't the fool everyone made him out to be. Others might not notice, but I see it clearly. Someone planted a poison needle into his brain, constantly stimulating his nerves. Such a precise and vicious method. The culprit is definitely no ordinary person. That poison needle should have taken his life, but thanks to my reincarnation, he managed to cling to his last breath. I need to get that poison needle out as soon as possible. Yi Tianchi. Always separate gratitude and grudges clearly. And I know exactly how to become stronger. Now that I've borrowed this body, I won't let the one who harmed him off the hook. Thinking this, he suddenly sits bolt upright, startling the crowd around him. Seeing this, the professor grumbles, "Class isn't over yet. Sit down." But Daiki coldly glares down at him, thinking, he completely looks down on me. A man without a shred of virtue, yet he dares to act so arrogant and authoritative. Seeing his piercing gaze, the professor freezes. But Daiki ignores him, walking straight toward the classroom door, thinking, I was once a sect master with countless disciples. I have no reason to take orders from the likes of you. Watching him casually walk away, the professor angrily shouts, "Stop right there! You dare ignore me." Meanwhile, Daiki is deep in thought. From now on, I will live proudly in this body. Starting today, I am no longer Yi Tianchi. I am Tojo Daiki. The scene shifts to outside the campus. As he strolls, he mutters, "So, in this world, people can live this comfortably without cultivating at all? With my spiritual power, sifting through all of his memories is a breeze." But the most important thing is spiritual energy. Spiritual energy is the foundation of cultivation. Yet in this world, it's incredibly sparse. Even if I cultivated here for 10,000 years, I'd never reach the realm of my past life. Can't be helped. First, I need to deal with the poison needle in my brain. The scene shifts to the male dormitory of Kaizen University. As Daiki opens the door to his room, he looks around and deduces, if someone interrupts, I won't be able to pull the needle out. According to his memories, 4 people share this room. But 2 are still in class, and the last one almost never shows up at the dorm. There's over an hour left until classes end. That's plenty of time. If the bed collapses, the impact could push the needle in deeper. I'll do this on the floor. The culprit knew exactly where to draw the line, turning Daiki into a useless fool, but not killing him outright, planting the poison needle in a spot that even a CT scan couldn't detect. But before the sect master of the Tianqi sect, these petty tricks are nothing. I don't need any sophisticated tools. With that thought, he focuses. Small glowing circles gradually appear, enveloping him. He lets out a long breath, as if expelling the foul energy within. At the same time, he thinks, it's as thin as a silk thread. The enemy must definitely be a master at controlling true qi. To dare use something this vicious on a child. Once I catch them, I'll crush them without mercy. Thinking this, a sinister smile creeps onto his face. Returning to the task of extracting the needle, he frowns, calculating. It's been lodged in there for years, fusing with his flesh and blood. If I try to pull it out without harming him, it'll drain a massive amount of my remaining spiritual power. However, suddenly, something shoots out from his head. It's the needle, successfully extracted, flying out and embedding itself into the wall. After getting it out, Daiki pants heavily and thinks, after being tormented for all those years, no wonder this body is so frail. With that thought, he passes out, collapsing onto the floor. A moment later, when he opened his eyes and saw the unfamiliar ceiling, he jolted awake. Holding his head as he sat up, he thought, to think such a trivial matter would land me in the hospital. As he sat up, he noticed a figure lying beside the bed. Seeing her, he wondered, who is this girl? Suddenly, she woke up. Rubbing her eyes and looking up, she saw him awake and asked joyfully, "Big brother, you're awake. Thank goodness." "Doctor." A moment later, the doctor came in and announced his condition. "He's just suffering from a bit of mental exhaustion. It's nothing serious." Hearing this, she was overjoyed. But just to be sure, she asked again, "Are you sure he's really okay, doctor? Shouldn't we run some more tests?" The doctor replied gently, "He'll be fine. Just let him go home and rest. You can process his discharge papers anytime." Hearing that, tears streamed down her face as she turned to him. "Did you hear that? The doctor says you're fine." Seeing her like that, he wondered, how long has it been since someone looked at me with such warm eyes? When I was Yi Tianqi, as a sect master, I lived only for cultivation. I never expected that after 1,000 years, I'd be able to feel this again. He reviewed Daiki's childhood memories, seeing how she always stood up to protect him. "Stop bullying my brother." He realized then, she is the daughter of my adoptive parents, Kasumi Hazuki. We grew up together. Even when everyone mocked me for being a fool, she never looked down on me. She always protected me. In contrast, my biological parents. The moment the poison needle started affecting my brain, they tossed me to my adoptive parents and abandoned me without a second thought. The fact that both of us have the character Yi in our names, it must be destiny. He looked toward the door where she was waving goodbye. "Thank you so much, doctor." He thought to himself, the brother you once knew is gone. But from today onward, as Daiki, I will protect you from everything in this world. After saying goodbye to the doctor, Kasumi buried her face in his bed and playfully scolded him. "Geez, do you have any idea how worried I was?" Seeing her like that, he gently comforted her. "Stop crying, you dummy. See, I'm perfectly healthy now." Kasumi was a bit surprised by his actions and asked, "Big brother, you seem different somehow." He paused at her words. She leaned in closer and continued, "Your eyes, they're so full of life." She remembered how his eyes used to be dull and lifeless, but now they were shining. "Don't tell me. You've gotten smarter." Surprised for a second, he then patted her head and replied, "That's right. I've gotten smarter. And as for those who intentionally harmed me, I won't let a single one of them escape." As he spoke, he clenched his fists tightly. A new, energetic day began. At Kashin University in Okina City, 7 a.m. In the school cafeteria, Daiki sat with a table full of food, eating ravenously. The surrounding crowd stared at him in shock, whispering among themselves, "Who is that? How can one person eat so much?" Daiki ignored their gossip and kept eating. As he ate, he thought, Kasumi was worried and told me not to come to school, but striking back early is the best move. The news that I've regained my sanity will spread quickly. This body is currently too weak. The crowd walking by looked at him eating like a glutton and gossiped. Isn't that the famous idiot of the Tojo family? Look at him stuffing his face. I heard he was so hungry he passed out in the dorms. Someone even took out their phone to take a picture of him eating, but he didn't care. I don't know where the mastermind is hiding, so I have to stay alert. I need to recover my physical strength. Fast. Time gradually passed. At the Kashin University Library, 2 p.m., Daiki sat at a table with several books, flipping through the pages. As he read, he thought, this world is severely lacking in spiritual energy. With my old cultivation methods, I won't be able to raise my realm here. Inside the library, people saw him reading and laughed. Look, that's Tojo, right? What the hell is he doing over there? If he's in the library, it's definitely going to pour rain tomorrow. He's probably just here to read manga. Opening that many books, his brain is going to explode. Is he pretending to read just for attention? How ridiculous. Daiki ignored their words, frowning in concentration. I really want to rely on medicinal herbs, but there isn't a single spiritual herb or immortal elixir from the cultivation world here. I'll have to find herbs with similar properties and create my own formulas. Time continued to pass. At the Kashin University men's dormitory, 1 a.m., Daiki was cultivating on his balcony, surrounded by spiritual energy. As he cultivated, he grimaced and thought, this body is so ruined that all the meridians, the pathways for spiritual energy, are completely blocked. I have to force the spiritual energy through to flush out all the remaining toxins. In this state, I can't even fight. All right, it's time to channel all the spiritual energy I've accumulated over the past few days. Suddenly, something emanated from his hand. His eyes widened. First level of chi condensation. All right, even though it's only the first level, my 5 senses have already surpassed the limits of ordinary humans. He raised his hand and thought, I can feel even the slightest movements within a 100-meter radius. At that moment, his roommate woke up yawning. Seeing him pointing at thin air, he panicked and cried out, Don't scare me like that. What are you doing out on the balcony this late? Contemplating the meaning of life or something. Daiki quietly turned to look at him. Another friend sleepily reminded him, Just go to sleep. We have classes tomorrow. He replied coldly, Yeah. Then he thought, I must have made too much noise. But then the roommate noticed something and exclaimed. Hearing that, Daiki grew suspicious. If he realizes my mind has returned to normal, the rumors will spread. And if the mastermind is in the school, things will get troublesome. But instead, the roommate rubbed his head, smiled, and asked, When did you change your hairstyle? You look pretty handsome. Seeing this, he sighed in relief. Turns out he only noticed the haircut Kasumi gave me. Looks like I was overthinking it. The roommate turned away and added, But still, you're nowhere near my level. Go to sleep, you'll catch a cold staying out here. Watching his carefree demeanor, Daiki thought, So Daiki's friends have always treated him well. But I can't just rely on the kindness of others. I have to regain my former realm if I want to protect the people who matter. My path ahead is still very long. Even if I have to face 1,000 years of solitude and countless obstacles ahead, I can only move forward. As he thought this, he looked up at the hazy moon in the night sky. The scene shifted to the Kashin University women's dormitory early the next morning. Kasumi was scrolling through her phone, smiling brightly as she thought, Big brother, you're amazing. You can calculate 6-digit multiplications in the blink of an eye. Her roommate glanced over, saw her giggling, and leaned in to ask, You look really happy, Kasumi. Did you find someone you like? She immediately denied it. No, it's not like that. My brother is back to normal, she said, her eyes sparkling. Seeing her like that, the roommate was a bit stunned and asked, Back to normal? But wasn't your brother? Kasumi replied irritably, Those rumors are all nonsense. One day, everyone will see just how amazing he is. The roommate then held up her phone and said, Anyway, look at this. Someone filmed your brother practicing martial arts on the sports field and posted it online. And of course, the comments are all mocking him. On the screen was a video of Daiki focused on his training. Hearing this, Kasumi trembled and asked, What? On the sports field? Practicing martial arts? Meanwhile, at the sports field, Daiki was diligently throwing punches. After finishing his routine, he pulled back his stance while the crowd around him kept gossiping. Look, he's at it again. Does he really think he's some kind of martial arts master? Ignoring their mockery, he sighed and thought, the true dragon fist is a basic martial art, but for me right now, it's the perfect training method. Although it's not even a fraction of what I had in my past life, at least I've gained enough strength to smash a boulder. My physical endurance still needs work, but dealing with an ordinary martial artist should be fine. Just then, someone walked past him and stopped. He noticed and thought, I must be blocking the way. But as he was about to leave, the guy blocked his path. The man glared down at him with cold, sharp eyes. Daiki didn't back down, asking coldly, "Who are you? Do you need something?" The guy sneered, "You're definitely not the same as before." Seeing that the guy was looking for trouble, Daiki sighed and thought, great. Now things are getting annoying. Seeing Daiki sigh as if he were a nuisance, the guy gritted his teeth and shouted, "Listen closely. My name is Hanabusa Tsutomu. If you know what's good for you, stay away from Kasumi. An idiot like you hanging around her will only drag her down." Hearing this made him even more exhausted. He remembered his past life, where his disciples had to bow their heads to him. When I was the sect master, even immortals had to line up and kneel before me. Now I have to take orders from a mortal. How ironic. He then said coldly, "Kasumi is my sister, but who she likes is none of my business. So you can leave now." The guy leaned in and growled. "In other words, you'll stay away from Kasumi, right?" Daiki thought, as her brother, of course I have to consider her happiness. So he replied, "She can like whoever she wants, but you have absolutely no chance." Hearing this, Tsutomu gritted his teeth in anger and asked, "No chance?" Daiki didn't care and reminisced about the past. Back in the Tianchi sect, people of all classes and statuses gathered. As long as you had talent, I would teach you. But this guy isn't even qualified to be a chore boy. He is completely unworthy of my sister. At that moment, the guy aggressively lunged forward, throwing a punch at him while shouting, "You know martial arts too, right? Then let's spar." Seeing the guy's behavior, Daiki calmly thought, a sneak attack? How rude and utterly devoid of self-respect. When I was the sect master, even the reigning emperor had to be respectful in my presence. It's been a long time since a mortal dared to punch me straight in the face. And with that, he easily caught the guy's wrist in a tight grip. Tsutomu cried out in shock, "What?" But before he could react, Daiki twisted his wrist. Using the true essence first form, Dragon Breaker, he snapped the guy's elbow. Tsutomu fell to the ground in agony, screaming in pain. The crowd turned their attention toward the scream, asking each other, "What's going on? What just happened? Isn't that Hanabusa from the physical education department?" After dealing with the guy, Daiki frowned and evaluated, a lowly mortal daring to challenge a cultivator. He truly doesn't know his own limits. Foundation establishment, core formation, nascent soul, soul formation, tribulation transcendence. The path of cultivation ahead is still very long. I've only reached the first level of chi condensation, but that's more than enough to deal with ordinary people. The crowd gathered around the guy and asked, "Hanabusa, are you okay? Do you need a hand?" The guy clutched his arm, struggling to stand, and replied, "I'm fine. This is nothing." Someone else added, "That Tojo guy we called an idiot." The guy interrupted, "I'll just go to the infirmary for a quick checkup, and I'll be fine." As he spoke, he glared at Daiki. Meeting Daiki's piercing, cold gaze, he trembles and thinks, that look, and they call him an idiot? There's no way he's just a normal college student. Then he asks, "Can I go now?" Seeing him shaking like that, the crowd wonders. Even Hanazawa is trembling. What the hell is going on? Daiki calmly mutters, "He doesn't even understand what my relationship with Kazumi is." Then he deduces inwardly, "There must be a reason someone sent him to mess with me." So he leans in close to the guy and asks quietly, "You're not stupid enough to not realize you're being used, right? Who's pulling your strings? Speak." Hearing that, the guy's eyes widen as if realizing something, and he thinks to himself, "I got set up." Then he answers honestly, "It's me, Nami Hiroki, a freshman in the business administration department. He showed me a bunch of photos of you and Kazumi together." Suddenly, a voice calls out, "Daiki." The guy then continues, "I'll go with you to help sort this out." Just then, Kazumi runs over, asking frantically, "Are you okay? You're not hurt anywhere, are you?" Seeing her like this, he replies gently, "Yeah, I'm fine. You didn't have to wake up this early." As he speaks, he pats her head. But Kazumi says irritably, Now is not the time to be nagging about that. Then she glares at Tsutomu and shouts, "You! How many times do I have to tell you I hate you before it gets through your thick skull? If you ever dare mess with my brother again, I won't let you off the hook." Tsutomu, clutching his arm as he walks away, replies, "All right, I get it. I'm leaving." Then he thinks, "As if I'd want anything to do with you anyway." After he leaves, she smiles brightly and introduces, "By the way, let me introduce you. This is my best friend." The girl replies awkwardly, "Fujimiya Jonah. Nice to meet you." Seeing her, he thinks, "This girl, she possesses a pure een physique, yet her meridians are blocked. She's truly beautiful, but unfortunately, she's destined for a short life. If I still had the power of my past life, I could have saved her. But right now, there's nothing I can do." Seeing her brother staring at Jonah, Kazumi asks, "Is something wrong?" He quickly replies, "No, it's nothing." Then he continues thinking, "She's just my sister's friend. There's no need to get too deeply involved. First, I need to find out if Minami Hiroki has any connection to the mastermind behind the poison needle. As for her purine physique, I'll deal with that later." Back to the present, Daiki looks at Kazumi and asks, "Which building belongs to the business administration department?" She replies blankly, "It's the brown building right in front of us." "What?" Daiki answers as he walks away, "I'm just going to take a look." At the same time, he calculates, "I'm going to drag every single person behind this setup into the light." Seeing Daiki's demeanor, Kazumi mutters in surprise, "Daiki, you really have changed." The scene shifts to the business administration department. In the lecture hall, a crowd is anxiously asking each other, "What? Hanazawa got knocked out and had to be taken to the infirmary? So Tojo was just pretending to be an idiot all this time? Was it an order from the Tojo family? Good thing Minami provoked Hanazawa and sent him to scout ahead." Minami Hiroki, sitting in his chair, stretches his arms and says, "Just as I thought. The Tojo family is plotting something using that guy." Then he slams his hand on the desk, cracking it slightly, and declares, "But that doesn't matter. In the name of the Minami family, I will crush him with my own hands. And while I'm at it, I'll make this entire university know my name. The name Minami Hiroki of the Minami family. I don't care if he's a fool or just a sacrificial pawn. To me, he's just a bug I can squash at any time." Just then, Daiki kicks the door wide open from the outside, glaring at him with a darkened expression. The professor at the front sees him and asks, "Who are you? Class is about to start. If you're not registered for this course, please leave." But he asks coldly, "Where is Minami Hiroki?" The female students see him and blush, asking, "Who is that? He's so handsome. Do you think he's in our department? I swear I've seen him somewhere before. Isn't that Tojo the idiot?" Seeing Daiki, Hiroki smirks and thinks, so he actually dared to show up. His lackeys crack their knuckles, getting into a defensive stance against him. They shout, "You came here to pick a fight with Minami? Then you'll have to step over our dead bodies first." Yelling, they lunge forward, throwing punches at him. But he easily dodges them all. He thinks, the attacks of ordinary people are so slow it's boring. Then he casually strikes back at them, sending them crashing to the ground. Then he says coldly, "I'll say it one more time. Bring Minami Hiroki out here." Seeing his display of power, the people in the classroom are shocked and ask each other, "Is that really Tojo Daiki? He's terrifyingly strong, taking them down in the blink of an eye." But Minami comes from a family in the Ministry of Defense. He has backing, and his own strength is on a completely different level. No matter how strong Tojo is, he has no chance of beating Minami. At this moment, he stands up, smirking, and says, "It seems I underestimated you. You're stronger than I thought. I am Minami Hiroki." As he speaks, he takes off his shirt. The crowd looks at his physique and praises, "Minami looks so slim. Who would have thought he was that ripped?" He's really pissed off now. Tojo is definitely dead meat. Seeing that they are about to fight, the professor walks over and asks, "Who are you? And what the hell do you think you're doing in my classroom?" Hiroki stops the professor, saying, "Calm down, professor. This will be over quickly. Want to take this to the arena to settle it?" Daiki immediately replies, "No need. Here is fine. All right. If you tell me why you targeted me, and who gave you the order, I might go a little easy on you." He laughs mockingly, praising him. "You're the first person to dare speak so arrogantly in front of me." He thinks, There are some people in this world you absolutely cannot afford to offend. Then, lunging at him, he says, "So you're not going to apologize, huh?" He doesn't flinch at the punch, instead calmly analyzing. All brute strength. Not a shred of technique. How pathetic. Then he casually blocks his punch. This shocks him, and he grits his teeth, thinking, he blocked my punch without even flinching? Impossible. My hand feels like it's clamped in a vice. I can't pull it back. And right at that moment, he lifts his leg, delivering a solid kick straight to his stomach, sending him crashing to the other side of the classroom. The crowd turns pale. Minami got sent flying. No way. The professor adjusts his glasses and warns, "You there? How dare you use violence in broad daylight? I'm reporting this to the school administration." Meanwhile, the crowd is astonished, wondering, are we seeing things? Did Tojo really just knock out Minami? But if things have gone this far, the Minami family definitely won't let this slide. Even the professors have to be wary of the Minami family. Tojo really has a death wish. Is it because he's also from the Tojo family? But to act this recklessly after being abandoned by his family, he's got guts. At this moment, Hiroki is still clutching his stomach in pain. Daiki walks over to him and asks, "This was your family's idea, wasn't it?" Clutching his stomach, he looks up at him and asks, "What are you going to do?" He pulls him to his feet and replies, "From now on, if you have a problem, come straight to me. Don't drag my family into it." Quick as lightning, he dislocates the joints in his arms one by one. This makes him scream in agony. Daiki then asks, "I just dislocated both of your shoulders. Still want to keep going?" Hiroki, his face streaked with tears, begs, "No, I surrender. I'll never go near anyone from the Tojo family again." He gently grips his arm and corrects him. "It's the Hazuki family." He screams in response, "The Hazuki family? I won't ever go near anyone from the Hazuki family again." Hearing this answer, he lets go of his arm. Then he thinks to himself, this time he unleashed Hanazawa to pick a fight with me. If I wasn't strong enough, Kazumi would have definitely been harassed by that guy. After that, Daiki casually leaves the classroom, leaving Hiroki writhing on the floor. After he leaves, Hiroki tearfully orders, "Don't just stand there. Get me to the hospital right now." The professor looks at the scene and says loudly, "This is outrageous. Daring to use violence in broad daylight like this. I will definitely have him disciplined for this. What is that student's name?" A student quickly replies, "Tojo Daiki, sir. He's famous around school for being an idiot." Hearing that, the professor wonders, an idiot? But the professor thinks, he didn't look like one at all. Or is it because he's an idiot that he can act so recklessly? Time passes. A while later, in another classroom. In the lecture hall, Jonah holds out her phone to Kazumi and says, "Kazumi, have you checked the school forum? Your brother is blowing up." She looks down blankly. On the screen is the headline, "The school's idiot knocks out Minami Hiroki in seconds," along with comments praising him. Her eyes sparkle as she exclaims, "My brother is so cool." Jonah, sitting next to her, asks, "But that guy belongs to a family in the Ministry of Defense, right? Your brother might get dragged into some serious trouble." She immediately replies seriously, "I'll tell him to be careful." At that moment, an announcement blares over the campus speakers. "Second-year student, Tojo Daiki. Due to your behavior of disrupting campus order through physical assault, you are officially facing disciplinary action." Ignoring the announcement, he casually walks out of the school gates when his phone receives a call. He picks it up, thinking, whatever the school decides doesn't matter to me. As he answers, Kazumi frantically asks on the other end, "Daiki, can you hear me?" Daiki replies gently, "You don't have to yell. I hear you loud and clear." Kazumi asks as she walks, "How can you be so calm? Do you know what kind of person Minami is? He's from a family in the Ministry of Defense. They'll definitely seek revenge." Daiki replies casually, "I'll cross that bridge when I come to it." At the same time, he thinks, "In my 5,000 years of cultivation, I survived countless brutal battles. If I get scared over something this trivial, I'll never be able to reach the peak of the immortal path again." Kazumi anxiously warns him, "You can't. Just lay low at school for a while." Daiki says, "Too late. I'm already out the gate." She asks, "Where are you going?" "I'm coming with you." Daiki replies, "I'm going to get stronger." The scene shifts to the hospital room where Hiroki is lying. His mother, sitting next to him, yells angrily. Unbelievable. He's completely out of his mind. He actually dared to beat Hiroki in public like that? Does he have a death wish? Sitting on the hospital bed, he grits his teeth, suppressing his anger, and reminds his mother, "Please don't tell Dad or my older brother. I want to get revenge myself." The guy next to them asks, "A stray dog abandoned by the Tojo family dares to lay a hand on our Hiroki?" Meanwhile, Hiroki's eyes widen as he thinks, "I'll definitely make him pay dearly for this. Otherwise, I won't have any face left at the university." Back to Daiki. He looks at his slightly trembling hand and thinks, "Their strength might not be much, but I still can't afford to be careless. This body is still too weak. I need to increase my strength as fast as possible. It's time to proceed with the plan." Then he waves his hand to hail a cab. He gets in and says, "Take me to the nearest traditional Chinese medicine shop." Then, looking at his phone, he continues thinking, "If I can successfully refine medicinal pills, maybe I'll be able to awaken." At a pharmacy somewhere in the city, a voice requested a list of herbs: licorice, water plantain, corydalus, gardenia, goji berries, and angelica root. The pharmacist hurriedly gathered the order, thinking, "Buying all this without a prescription? Are you in the medical field?" Daiki took out his money and said, "All right, I'll take all of this." After paying, he left the store and thought, "If I can refine these into pills, my strength will definitely increase." But there goes 2 months' worth of living expenses. Buying all this completely emptied my pockets. I need a quiet place to refine the pills, but I don't have a single penny left to rent a room. Just then, Kasumi ran up to him, shouting, "Big brother, I finally found you." Seeing her, he called out, "Kasumi?" Panting heavily, she asked him, "I told you to stay at school. What are you doing at a pharmacy? Did you just rob the place?" Daiki looked down at his bags and said, "You came at the perfect time. Lend me some money." The two of them stood there dumbfounded. He set the bags of herbs down and added, "I want to rent a room to process these herbs." Kasumi took out her wallet. Pulling out a stack of cash, she asked, "I only have 20,000 on me. That's not enough, is it?" Daiki replied bluntly, "Yeah." She was surprised, thinking, "This is the first time my brother has asked to borrow money from me. He needs these herbs to get even smarter." At that moment, Jonah shyly stepped forward and said, "I have about 80,000 in my account. If you want, you can use this for now. The pin is 1357. Kasumi must be worried sick too. He took her card. Looking at her, he thought, such a purine physique. The Yin energy has seeped deep into her bones. Unless an expert steps in to help, she probably won't live past 22. Holding Jonah's card, he said, "Thank you. I'll pay you back within 2 weeks. She replied nervously, "You don't need to rush. It's really okay." At that moment, she asked herself, "Why do I trust this guy so much? It's like he radiates something that makes people want to rely on him." Meanwhile, Daiki stared at Jonah's card, imagining how hard she must have worked for that money. To a cultivator, this amount is nothing. But to her, it's everything she has. "I didn't plan on getting deeply involved in this, but now I owe her a favor. It seems this is fate too. A purine body with blocked meridians. Most people would give up on a case like hers. But I will step in and stop it. Even if the king of hell comes to claim your life, I will keep you alive long enough to repay this favor tenfold." The scene then shifted to a small rented room. Daiki walked in, looked around, and asked, "So the rent is 12,000 yen, right?" The old landlady smiled and replied, "That's right. Plus a 2-month deposit, so you need to pay 36,000 up front." After receiving the money, the old lady carefully counted it and left. He looked around and calculated, "With the remaining money, I can still buy some other necessities. After all, raising my cultivation base is the fastest way to make money." He then evaluated the place. "It's pretty run down, but as long as I can refine pills, it's good enough." And with that, he took out the pots and started boiling. Surrounded by boiling pots, Daiki watched them and thought, besides the mixing of the herbs itself, there are 3 other key factors: the quality of the medicinal ingredients, heat control, and activating the medicinal properties. He then used his spiritual energy to extract the herbs, muttering, "Good. Each herb needs to be processed differently to maximize its efficacy. Some need to be burned with fire, some dissolved in water, and some neutralized together." He tossed them into the pot, thinking, "However, With the spiritual energy on Earth being so thin, I can't expect too much from the medicinal power of these herbs. But with my knowledge, I should at least be able to refine a basic chi gathering pill. As long as I control the heat precisely, this should be simple. Too easy. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door, breaking his concentration. He wondered. I didn't make any loud noises. Besides, I just moved in. Who could it be? I have a bad feeling about this. The door was suddenly kicked open from the outside. A group of thugs barged in, saying, "So this is where you've been hiding. You made us look everywhere for you." "It's fine. That's him." A blonde guy stood there smugly. Following his orders, they raised their weapons and yelled, "Get him." Seeing their behavior, he kept a straight face and thought, how annoying. I'm right at the most crucial step. He then tossed the pot into the air and said, "Sorry, but I don't have time to play with you guys." Seeing his action, they asked in confusion, "What the hell is that?" Without giving them a chance to defend themselves, he swiftly used the true dragon fist, first form, dragon coil, launching them into the air. They screamed as they were sent flying. He then lightly landed on top of them, caught his pot, and said, "Spit it out. Who sent you here? Tell me, and I'll go a little easier on you." The blonde guy stretched his arms and replied, "So you beat Hanabusa. You've got some skills. But here's the thing." He suddenly vanished, surprising Daiki. Quick as lightning, he shoved Daiki hard and said, "I'm not your average college student." Daiki was sent flying into the corner of the wall. Still clutching the pot tightly, he thought, is he gathering spiritual energy fluctuations? Don't tell me there are cultivators in this world too. The blonde guy smiled and praised him, taking my elbow head on and still staying conscious. "You're pretty tough." He then threw a kick, which Daiki dodged. Daiki analyzed, no, he's not a cultivator. He's not releasing spiritual energy from within his body. He's compressing the ambient energy of heaven and earth into his body through pure physical training. It seems I underestimated this world. If I remember correctly, this is what they call a martial artist. A martial artist is someone who, after years of training, can channel a small amount of spiritual energy into their body. They're nowhere near a true cultivator, but they far surpass ordinary people. The guy continuously threw punches at Daiki, but he dodged them all. The guy asked, "Is that pot really that important to you?" As soon as he finished speaking, he kicked Daiki's pot, splitting it in half. Daiki frowned and cursed inwardly, "Damn it. I was so close to finishing it." The guy then punched him in the stomach and said, "You left yourself wide open just to protect it. Whatever's inside must be really valuable, huh?" The blow sent him flying. Dust obscured the view, but it still revealed his smile. He swallowed the pill and muttered, "I wanted to simmer it a bit longer, but this will do." At that moment, the surrounding air seemed to churn, and he was the cause of it. Daiki was enveloped in a powerful surge of spiritual energy. With a cold expression, he growled, "I'll use you to test the power of my second level of chi condensation." The blonde guy was completely overwhelmed by his opponent's power. This kid, the pressure is terrifying. I can't believe this is the same guy from a minute ago. Daiki walked forward, wreathed in a terrifying aura. "Are you prepared to die?" The blonde guy immediately attacked. "I can't hesitate. I have to strike first." His attack reached right in front of Daiki's face. I never realized this in my past life, but Daiki simply flicked his hand very lightly. Daiki looked at his opponent with cold eyes, thinking, is the difference between the first and second levels of chi condensation really this massive? The blonde guy collapsed in agony. My arm. He still couldn't believe what had just happened. There's no way an ordinary college student could be this strong. What the hell are you? Daiki launched his next attack, aiming for the opponent's neck. Silence. He lifted the blonde guy off the ground and threatened, "Who do you think you are to stand against me?" Daiki quickly extracted information. "Speak. Who ordered you to find me?" When the guy didn't answer, he used his power to smash a nearby table. "You'll end up just like that table." Seeing that, the blonde guy screamed in terror. He hastily fell to his knees and confessed, I'll talk. Please don't kill me. It was Minami Hazuki. Please, I'm begging you. Let me go? I'll never do it again." That answer was exactly what Daiki had expected. Just as I thought. He retaliated faster than I expected. He stepped forward with a terrifying look and thought, fine. The Minami family, you will pay this debt in full. The blonde guy didn't want to stay there a second longer. "I told you everything. Can we go now?" Naturally, Daiki wasn't going to let them off that easily. But on one condition. The blonde guy quickly asked, "What condition?" He was probably upset inside. "I knew he wouldn't let me off that easily." Daiki pointed to the messy corner of the room. "You trashed my room. Pay for the damages." That condition shocked the blonde guy. "Just money? That's it." But Daiki seemed to misunderstand his reaction. "Do you have a problem with that?" Terrified by that glare, the blonde guy blurted out, "No, absolutely no problem." He immediately kicked one of his accomplices. "Hurry up and transfer the money to Tojo-san." The blonde guy held out his screen as proof. "I've sent 200,000 yen. He was desperate to get out of there. "So, can we go now?" Daiki just coldly dropped the sentence. "Get out of my sight." And so, the three of them ran for their lives. "Yes, sir." One of them questioned, "Are you sure this is okay? Boss Hazuki asked us to help, but in the end..." The blonde guy immediately snapped back. "What do you want me to do? Go back and pick a fight with that monster again?" He suddenly said something cryptic. "I'm just saying, strength isn't everything." Back in the room, Daiki could only sigh in frustration. In the end, even the strong have to bow to authority. He looked at the bent pots and thought, "I originally planned to break through to the third level of chi condensation, but I only reached the second level. Moreover, it's still unstable." Daiki looked at the pills in his hand and thought, "These are all the pills I have left." Finally, he tossed them all into his mouth. Daiki sat down to continue cultivating. "If I don't stabilize the second level soon, I'll drop back down to the first level." Black sweat began to ooze from his body. Even Daiki's eyes had transformed. Daiki was also surprised by this skill. "I never expected that cleansing this body would uncover a hidden bloodline within Daiki." The purple demon eye. Daiki's pupils constantly shifted. The purple demon eye. A visual power that can see through the essence of all things and reveal the truth behind all phenomena. He immediately turned his head. Everything inside the cabinet was completely visible to him. Daiki was very satisfied with this skill. "In my past life, I always yearned for this power. A power that even surpasses the heavenly Tao. It truly is a blessing in disguise." Yet it ended up disappearing. Daiki also realized something. But it consumes spiritual energy too fast. At the second level, I can only use it for a few minutes. As expected, I'm still too weak. He started calculating his finances. Buying herbs, paying for room repairs, and all the living expenses too. Finally, Daiki just lay down in frustration. Life in the mortal realm is such a hassle. No matter what I do, money always ties me down. Right then, he received a notification on his phone. Daiki absent-mindedly read the news snippet. A man found a Ming Dynasty vase at the Josei flea market and sold it for 200 million yen. Seriously? Reading this, Daiki sat up and thought, "That's right. I have the purple demon eye now. If I go to the flea market, I can hunt for treasures and make a huge profit." And so, he quickly made a decision. "I have to go right now." Daiki was now at the Josei flea market. "Hopefully, I can find something valuable." He let out a breath. Daiki used his skill to observe everything. Purple demon eye, activate. A shop owner took out a vase and asked, "Hey kid, this is Ming Dynasty porcelain. How about 600,000? Daiki glanced over to check it out. The word fake appeared in huge letters over it. He immediately turned and walked away. It's a fake. Plus, that artificial aging looks so sloppy it's embarrassing. The shop owner was furious but couldn't do anything. TCH. Acting like a know-it-all when you don't even have the money to buy it. Daiki evaluated the items around him. It's all trash. It seems the antique market in this world is truly a mix of gold and garbage. He pinched the bridge of his nose. The purple demon eye drains spiritual energy really fast. I can't just wander around aimlessly like this. Daiki suddenly noticed a stall up ahead. Wait, a faint fluctuation of spiritual energy. It's that rock over there. Daiki observed it closely. That chunk of iron contains spiritual energy inside. It's weak, but in this world, that makes it incredibly precious. He stopped as someone walked past him. Daiki noticed them too. His movements, he's a martial artist. There are more strong people here than I thought. The shop owner saw Daiki and waved him over. Don't just stand there. If you're interested, we can negotiate a price. Daiki thought to himself, too many people are watching me. If I walk straight to that iron chunk, it'll attract attention. Daiki walked over and asked, how much for those 3 items? Oh, these. The shop owner secretly rejoiced. He looks gullible. What a perfect fat sheep. He listed the prices one by one. The necklace is 20,000, the fan is 36,000, and the iron chunk is 10,000. Daiki feigned surprise. That much? He picked up the fan. All right, I'll pretend I want to buy the fan. Daiki negotiated with the shop owner. I like this fan. If you can't lower the price, throw in that iron chunk for free. The shop owner immediately agreed. Sure, that works. He was secretly thrilled. No problem at all. I just picked that iron chunk up at a school gate anyway. Daiki took the iron chunk and left. Jackpot. With this amount of spiritual energy, I can forge at least one magical artifact. The shop owner's account notified him. Received 36,000 yen. Heh, what an idiot. Daiki opened the fan. And what's more, I actually got a real antique this time. This fan is a genuine antique. I can resell it for 100 times the price. A voice suddenly rang out from nowhere. Somebody help. Someone passed out. Is there a doctor here? An old man had collapsed right in the middle of the street. Grandpa, are you okay? The young man turned to the person next to him and said, Yosuke, call an ambulance right now. Understood. Daiki also went over to take a look. Those practiced movements. So that martial artist is with this young man? Are they from some prestigious family? He didn't pay much attention and turned to leave. Whatever. Not my business. I should head back and forge that artifact. He stopped when he heard a number. I don't care who it is. As long as you can save my grandpa, I'll pay 2 million. Naturally, Daiki wasn't going to pass that up. 2 million? There's no reason to refuse helping out. Yosuke said anxiously. Young master, the ambulance will take another 10 minutes to get here. Toshia panicked. That'll be too late. He pleaded with the crowd. Is there no doctor here? Please, somebody help me. No one in the surrounding crowd dared to step forward. Even if you say that, this is a human life. The responsibility is too great. He looks like he might not make it. Toshia was worried sick. Grandpa, don't tell me this is really the end. At that moment, Daiki stepped forward. Move aside. Toshia looked up. He said, I can save him. Toshia asked, Are you a doctor? Daiki replied, No, but I can save him. Yosuke rushed over. Stop talking nonsense, kid. If something happens, can you take responsibility? Daiki grabbed his wrist. He said, If we keep wasting time, he definitely won't make it. Yosuke yanked his hand back. Impossible. He touched his wrist, wondering, why is he so strong? Daiki walked over to Toshia. Help him sit up. All right. Toshia followed his instructions and helped the old man up. My second level chi condensation is weak, but it's enough to stimulate the heart meridian. He focused his energy into his palm. Daiki pulled his hand back. He struck the old man's back hard with his hand. Blood spurted from the old man's mouth. He fell face first onto the ground. Toshia cried out in panic. Grandpa. Yosuke raised his fist in anger. You bastard. What did you just do to him? The man's punch was about to land squarely on Daiki's face. However, with just a slight turn, he easily dodged it. Yosuke turned around furiously, trying to run. Right then, a finger pointed straight at his face. Daiki glared at him threateningly. This is my final warning. Don't cause any more trouble. He couldn't believe his eyes. Impossible. Even in my unit, I. Just then, a voice rang out. Toshia cheered joyfully. Grandpa, you're awake. The old man coughed weakly a few times. He panted, his voice still tired. I feel much better. My chest was so tight earlier, but now I can finally breathe. The old man then turned and ordered strictly. Yosuke, step back. This young man just saved my life. He stood up straight and replied, Understood, sir. Toshia helped him walk over to Daiki. The old man was very grateful to him. Young man, I will never forget this life-saving grace. He replied bluntly. As long as I get my money, that's enough. The people around started gossiping about Daiki. Some sympathized, while others were annoyed. Always about money. Well, he did actually save him, so it's only natural. Daiki turned to Toshia and asked, I helped him for that 2 million. You're going to pay up, right? He was a bit surprised, then replied, Of course. The old man, however, patted his shoulder happily. I like honest people. He then turned to Yosuke and said, Yosuke, give him the money. He immediately brought out the bag on his shoulder. Understood, sir. Yosuke handed Daiki a stack of cash and said, Here is the 2 million as promised. I apologize for attacking you earlier. You are my savior. He replied politely. It's fine. The onlookers were all amazed by the large sum of money. That's a lot of cash. I've never seen that much money in my entire life. That kid really hit the jackpot, huh? Why be jealous? Do any of us know how to save someone's life? Daiki looked at the money in his hand and thought, walking around with this much cash, they must be filthy rich. Thinking that, he stuffed it into his jacket and turned to leave. Well then, see you around. The old man suddenly called out to him. Wait a moment. Daiki turned back, puzzled. Is there something else? He spoke anxiously about his condition. Because of my health, I frequently suffer from attacks like that. The hospital diagnosed it as chronic heart disease. They said there's no way to cure it completely. The old man looked at him with determined eyes. However, what you did just now, it didn't feel like some ordinary first aid trick. Can you cure me completely? Hearing this, Daiki stayed silent for a moment. He could see the blood vessels connecting to the heart and read the old man's condition. His meridians are aging, and his blood flow is stagnating. Typical symptoms of a mortal growing old. But with my pills, I can cure him. He then affirmed, I can. Toshio was so shocked he yelled, What did you say? Even the doctors said they could only maintain his condition. Daiki replied very calmly, The doctors might not be able to cure him, but I can. The old man offered a trade without hesitation. How much money do you want? Daiki held up one index finger. He said seriously, 200 million a year. I will keep you alive for another 20 years. Hearing this price, everyone was bewildered. 200 million a year for 20 years? That's 4 billion. Isn't that way too much? The old man unexpectedly burst out laughing. Surprisingly, he thought the price was too low. Heh, that's a bargain. Even Daiki was surprised. He says that's cheap? This old man is definitely not simple. The old man laughed joyfully. Of course I'll pay, but I don't have that much cash on me right now. Give me your account number. I'll transfer it to you tomorrow. However, Daiki coldly refused. I only accept cash. Daiki turned his back and made an appointment with the old man. Bring the cash here the day after tomorrow. I'll treat you right on the spot. He immediately agreed. I understand. May I know your name? Daiki replied with a short word. Tojo. Toshio felt a bit uneasy and asked his grandfather, Grandpa, can we really trust him? 4 billion is a massive amount of money. The old man asked him back, Toshio, didn't you notice? His eyes lit up as he looked at Yosuke. His strength is on par with Yosuke's, and his life-saving technique was nothing short of a miracle. The old man was very firm in his belief. In my long, turbulent life, I have never once misjudged a person. That young man is definitely no ordinary person. Meanwhile, Daiki was wandering down the street. Not a bad haul today. He was overjoyed. 2 million in cash, an iron chunk full of spiritual energy, and a fan. When that 4 billion is delivered the day after tomorrow, my money problems will be completely solved. Daiki suddenly sensed something. He quickly realized, I'm being followed. 3 of them. I can hear their footsteps. About 30 meters behind me. They've been tailing me for a while now. Daiki could see 3 dark silhouettes reflected in the glass window. He guessed inwardly, more trouble? Are they Minami Hazuki's lackeys? Or could they be the old man's bodyguards secretly following me out of suspicion? Just by listening, Daiki recognized the group behind him. I recognize these footsteps. It's those guys again. The spiky-haired guy next to him said fearfully to his boss, We should be careful. That guy is really dangerous. But the blonde guy and the other one replied confidently, What are you scared of? We're way stronger than you. Just relax. Besides, we're not facing him head-on this time. While they were whispering, he turned into a small alley. Hearing their conversation, Daiki thought to himself, Persistent fools. I won't hold back this time. In another corner of the city, he continued walking forward leisurely. Finally, Daiki came face to face with them. The blonde guy spoke arrogantly. Bet you didn't expect to see me again, huh? At that moment, his hand suddenly reached for the bag by his side. I expected it. Daiki's entire body suddenly radiated a dense, murderous aura. He declared sternly, The defeated have returned to throw their lives away? The pressure radiating from him terrified the group. The blonde guy clicked his tongue. He then ordered his accomplices, Get him now. We'll send you straight to hell. Despite them closing in, Daiki stood there calmly. He thought confidently, They are stronger than ordinary people, But now that I've broken through to the second level of chi condensation, they're no longer a match for me. As soon as they got close, Daiki dodged the attack in a flash. Even with 2 more helping out, they still can't beat me. Why keep coming back just to get your asses kicked? That speed made the 2 guys turn pale. He's too fast. When did he move? Before they could process it, Daiki lunged forward and struck them. With just 1 blow, he sent the 2 massive bodies flying. Seeing that things were going south, the blonde guy also rushed in. Damn it. I'll take care of him. As soon as he got close, he pulled out a weapon. It's over, you brat. Facing the sharp blade, Daiki simply caught it with 2 fingers. He said sternly, I already let you off once. Seeing his plan fail, the blonde guy trembled and replied, What are you gonna do? Before he could finish, Daiki delivered a kick. Looking at his opponent's miserable state, he asked helplessly, How much did Minami pay you? You knew this was a suicide mission. Despite being beaten to a pulp, the blonde guy still talked tough. Don't think you've won just because of this. Hearing that, Daiki couldn't help but be curious. What do you mean? Right then, police sirens blared from all directions. He was surrounded by countless police cars. Freeze. A police officer stepped out and sternly ordered them. Nobody move. Get on the ground now. Daiki seemed unable to fight back at this moment. At the second level of chi condensation, I still can't block bullets. And if I fight the police too, things will get really complicated. The surrounding police officers immediately pointed their guns at him, shouting loudly, Don't move. Put your hands in the air. Being arrested at this exact moment made Daiki suspicious. Their timing is too perfect. Don't tell me. The police officer walked up to him and announced, You are all under arrest for gang assault and assault with a deadly weapon. Daiki immediately retorted, I was attacked, so I defended myself. That weapon belongs to them. But the officer didn't care. Then why were you holding it? With the evidence right here, save your excuses. Before he could say more, the officer ordered, Take him to the station for interrogation. Take him away. The subordinates immediately complied. Yes, sir. The blonde guy walked past Daiki and said smugly, Heh, you're done for. With that, the police put him in the car. As soon as he got in, Daiki spoke up. What's really going on here? Spit it out. The police officer chuckled and replied casually, You should know best who you pissed off. Hearing this, he suddenly remembered. Minami Hazuki. Seeing that Daiki had figured it out, the officer burst out laughing. Spot on. The officer continued disdainfully. A stray dog abandoned by his family dares to piss off the Minami family? Just because you know how to throw a few punches, you think you can do whatever you want. In the face of true power, you're nothing. These words successfully infuriated Daiki. Minami, huh? I'll make you pay double for this. At a certain hospital, Hiroki asked his subordinate, Was it a success? The man replied respectfully, Yes, young master. Tojo has been arrested. Hearing the news, he laughed gleefully. Skip the interrogation. Throw him straight into a cell. My people are already waiting for him inside. I'll teach him some manners for daring to piss me off. The police car quickly arrived at the station. Daiki said calmly, Almost forgot. If you want to arrest me, do it in 2 days. The police officer asked, Kid, do you even understand your situation right now? Do you think Mr. Minami will give you that much time? Daiki confidently asserted. If you let me go now, you won't lose your jobs. If you don't listen to me, you'll regret the choice you made today. Hearing that, a chill ran down the officer's spine. He turned around and yelled, Who do you think you are? You're just an abandoned child of the Tojo family. The police officer driving the car was also concerned. Captain, what if this guy really is a big shot? The captain panicked, sweating bullets, and snapped back. Shut up, you idiot. Mr. Minami is the one with the power here. A while later, afternoon fell at the Josei Security Bureau. The police officer threw the door open and called out, Get out now. Chief, we've brought the suspect, Daiki Tojo. The chief looked pleased. Excellent. The paperwork is done. Just throw him into cell 137. The police officers standing nearby replied in unison, Yes, sir. Daiki asked calmly, I wonder what would happen if the public found out you forged documents and framed an innocent person. The chief turned pale. Found out. The chief then flashed a sinister smile. Barbaric words spilled from the chief's mouth. In this place, my word is the law. You think a nobody college student like you can go against me? Confiscate all his belongings. Make sure he can't pull any tricks. The police officers grabbed Daiki's arms and muttered among themselves, Cell 137? The one full of violent, aggressive criminals? This kid is dead meat. The captain reminded them, stop talking nonsense and do exactly as the chief ordered. Daiki caught wind of this and thought, even the cell I'm being sent to was decided in advance. There's definitely something fishy about Cell 137. They soon stood right in front of Cell 137 as a voice called out, we're here. The police officers started issuing threats. Go in there and get along with your seniors. Don't cause any trouble. The cell door slammed shut. Daiki had stepped right into the tiger's den. A green-haired guy stepped up and raised his voice. Boss, this is the guy? The one Mr. Minami specifically told us to take good care of. A set of shiny gold teeth flashed a wide grin. The gang leader ordered. First, let's teach him the rules of this place. The lackeys immediately obeyed. Yes, boss. Daiki stood still with his hands in his pockets, deep in thought. He even bought off these guys. Minami must have spent a fortune. He shook his head indifferently, ignoring them, and walked toward the bed. A guy with a top knot grabbed his shoulder. Hey, didn't you hear what Boss Scarface just said? Daiki glared at him and said, back off. The guy gritted his teeth in anger. You bastard. Even without Mr. Minami's orders, I'd beat you to a pulp. As soon as he finished speaking, the top-knot guy threw a punch, yelling, take this. But Daiki simply raised his hand and caught his wrist. He gently twisted the top-knot guy's wrist backward, causing him excruciating pain. The guy clutched his arm, screaming in agony. My arm is broken. Daiki casually glanced over the aggressive thugs in the room. Scarface still wouldn't let it go. Looks like you've got some skills. But in this place, you have no choice but to submit to me. Today, I'm going to break every bone in your body and give you a taste of a hell worse than death. Everyone here is going to take turns torturing you. Enjoy the consequences of crossing Mr. Minami. The prisoners in the neighboring cells started cheering. The boss is the best. Hurry up and show us some blood. Once the boss is done, let us have some fun too. Scarface burst out laughing and ordered. First, get on your knees and lick my shoes. If you do a good job, I might go a little easier on you. But Daiki maintained his imposing demeanor, pushing the boss's arm away. He said sternly, I said back off. Are you deaf? The guy flew into a rage, gritting his teeth and cursing, you bastard. He started shouting orders. Get him. Scarface watched closely, thinking, Mr. Minami said we could do whatever we want with him. The prisoners began to surround him. Take this. Here I come. Teach him a lesson. Daiki thought briefly, these guys all reek of blood. Just as I expected, they're all the scum of society. He slightly raised his hand, and his body exuded a powerful aura. Daiki frowned and announced, there's no need to hold back against vicious criminals like you. The other prisoners found him an eyesore and yelled, you bastard. They continuously threw punches, but it was too easy for Daiki to dodge. He casually raised his elbow high and struck a lackey's head. The remaining guys still wanted to try their luck, shouting, charge. Rush him all at once and overwhelm him. With just a few light movements, Daiki had them completely in the palm of his hand. His grip was so strong he could snap a prisoner's leg. With his other hand, he broke another guy's hand, making them scream in agony. They gaped and screamed in pain. The guys lay scattered on the floor, groaning. My leg. My arm. Damn it. Daiki looked at them with disdain. With that pathetic amount of strength, you can't defeat me. Scarface was furious. Damn it. You useless trash. He started taking off his shirt. Scarface flexed his muscles and said aggressively, looks like I'll have to handle you myself. Daiki calmly invited him. Stop talking nonsense and just come at me. The guy charged in furiously. Gladly. I'll give you exactly what you want. Daiki observed and quickly realized that speed isn't normal for a human. Is he a martial artist too? But he's just relying on pure muscle power. I don't sense any tactics at all. Scarface suddenly roared. You little brat. Take this. His body suddenly became massive and savage as he used the bullhead charge technique. Daiki didn't react at all, merely thinking, perfect. I'll use you to solidify my second level of chi condensation. He raised his hand slightly, and the boss was instantly sent flying far away. Scarface refused to accept defeat, screaming, Impossible. A moment later, Daiki's strength made the bones in his hand crack. He pleaded in pain. Let me go. Daiki complied, but that alone was enough to bring him to his knees before him. Daiki raised his knee and delivered a powerful blow to his chest. His extraordinary strength sent Boss Scarface flying uncontrollably into the wall. The guy took a hit so hard he slumped to the ground. Daiki walked over and asked gently, "Still want to keep going?" Scarface still refused to yield, pulling out a knife and provoking him. "You bastard. Don't think you've won just because of this. I'll chop you into 100 pieces." Daiki wasn't scared in the slightest and mocked him. Truly an idiot to the bitter end. He simply held out a finger and stopped the guy's knife. Scarface was dumbfounded. He stopped it barehanded. Daiki stated professionally, "Is this your final trump card?" The other prisoners were in utter shock. He stopped it barehanded. "Is that guy even human?" The boss's eyes widened as he stammered. "Boss Minami, just who the hell is this monster?" Daiki suddenly turned around and probed. "Anyone else want to fight?" The blonde guy fell to his knees and apologized. "We were wrong. We had no idea you were this powerful. Please forgive us. That Scarface forced us to do it." "That's right. Minami paid him to take care of you. We had no choice but to go along with it." Daiki asked curiously, "What reward did Minami offer?" Scarface confessed, trembling, 2 million, and he said he'd reduce my sentence. He leaned in close and interrogated, "Was that money really worth it? Now one of your hands is crippled. From now on, I'm the one calling the shots here. Anyone have a problem with that?" The prisoners replied in unison, "No, boss. No, you're the king. From today onward, you are the king of this prison." Daiki reflected calmly. King of the prison? What a ridiculous title. Oh well, the head of the Ijima family will be here in 2 days, so at least no one will bother me during this time. 2 days quickly passed. The phone on the desk rang violently. The chief thought briefly, a call from Tojo? I didn't expect anyone to actually call this number. He picked up the phone and yelled angrily, "Stop calling this number." Tojo pissed off Mr. Minami and was thrown into the Josei Security Bureau. The person on the other end was stunned. "What?" He was in shock. "Don't tell me you've arrested Mr. Tojo."